It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Joe Steckler, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is housing for homeless. And joining me today is Rob Cramp, Executive Director of Housing for Homeless. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Well,
Viewer, this is the first time in over 350 television shows I have ever talked about the homeless. The very first time. I am apologizing to the man sitting to my left for not even thinking about addressing this topic, because there are a large number of seniors who are homeless. And part of our effort in Brevard County is to try to unite all of our nonprofit organizations in the care of people that need help. We believe strongly in education, information, and connecting people to resources. And that's exactly why I asked you, Rob, to be on the show today, because I think there's more that the public needs to know about the homeless, instead of saying, oh, they're homeless, or don't help them, they're looking for a handout. That's the general picture. But I'm sure that you, Rob Cramp, as Executive Director of the Housing for Homeless, take a completely different outlook, don't you?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Tell me about Housing for Homeless.
Housing for Homeless has been around for 25 years. People don't realize that, but we really are an established nonprofit. We've got 130 houses across the county, and we kept 700 people off the streets. We housed 700 people. At any one time, we probably have 300 homeless people in our houses. And we're very successful. We have 70%, 75% of our people transfer from those houses, if they're able, after 2 years, into permanent housing.
You have a plan where you help these people get back on their feet?
Right.
Do you help them find jobs?
We pass them on. We don't have all the resources to find the jobs ourselves, but we have a very close relationship with Career Source Brevard, and we arrange interviews for them to go there and set themselves up for jobs. So
then many of them ultimately find their own housing and are able to take care of themselves.
That's the idea. We get grants from HUD that will allow us to keep people for up to 2 years. We'd like to move them on quicker than that, but that's what we get the funding for. And after 2 years, then they move on.
Do you find people that would tend to want to just remain in their houses?
Absolutely. But this is not a rescue. We qualify our clients. We cannot accept people in unless they have some limited income, because we start off the first day. The first day is the first rung of self-sufficiency. They have to have enough money to pay their own utilities. The rent may be small. It's around a third of whatever income they have, but they have to have enough money to pay the utilities. That's the first step.
I bet you that the people watching this show had no idea of what you just said. I didn't. I thought homeless meant homeless. They didn't have anything, that they were completely dependent on somebody else to take care of them. That's not true.
No, absolutely not, no.
Where would the people get the wherewithal to be able to pay anything?
Well, quite a few of them had jobs. You know, there's been a lot of publicity about the working poor and the minimum wage. And we have many people contact us who are homeless, and they have a job, but it's at a very low wage. And they just cannot find the money. Maybe they've been evicted and they have a poor rental record, and so they can't get back into rented housing again. There's all kinds of reasons why people are homeless. It's not just because they're lazy or idle. It's because bad things happen to them.
I think this is going to be an extremely well-spent 26 minutes and 15 seconds.
I hope so, Joe.
I think so, too. And I'm going to make sure I ask you all these questions we wrote down. What do you think is the unmet need in Brevard County? I know I asked Rob if he worked with John Farrell, who was the director of the
Daily Bread.
Daily Bread. He said yes. What do you believe is the unmet need? How many more people do you think need the kind of help that you're talking
Well, we know
about?
there's plenty of people. We've turned away 5 people for every person we accept into our program. We try and refer them to other agencies, but there is not a lot of housing, longer-term housing. There's not a lot of shelter either. We don't have those kind of facilities. We're trying to expand now and build them, but it's tough.
Who do you have on your side that helps advocate for developing more housing?
Well, we are getting closer and closer as a group of nonprofits around the county. We have altogether probably over 100 nonprofits that somehow affect homelessness. We are bringing ourselves together in a group called the Brevard Homeless Coalition. This is an independent 501c3 that will be coordinating all the agencies on joint activities. For instance,
Wait a minute, you're talking about building a new nonprofit?
not necessarily building a new nonprofit. It's a new nonprofit, but it's to make sure that we work together more closely, because on our own, we can't treat all these homeless people, but we can introduce them to other agencies if we know what they need to do.
But it wouldn't be a separate nonprofit, would it?
No.
So it'd be all the nonprofits working together under a coalition.
Under a coalition, yes.
Okay, all right, I understand that. Where would you all primarily seek? You'd have to buy houses or get houses given to you? How do you do this?
Before we get to that, we have to make sure we are open to the homeless people. See, what happens today, Joe, is a homeless person approaches an agency, and the odds of them actually being able to help them on the spot is low, because they're not designed to meet their particular needs. So they refer them to another agency, and then they refer them to another agency. And it's what we call the homeless bounce. At any one time, there's dozens of homeless people wandering around the county trying to find somebody who can help them. So what we're building later this year is something we call coordinated assessment. When a client or an applicant approaches, looking for housing, approaches an agency, they will be referred, all their information will be referred to a central location that will analyze the survey there with a standard survey, what their needs are, and then pass them on to another group of specialists who will decide where their housing can be. So it's like one-stop shopping for homeless people. That will bring many more homeless people into our system.
Where do they start?
Well, they can. Right now, it's chance that they go to the right agency.
Is this what you're trying to put in place?
Absolutely. Later on, whatever agency they go to around the county, they will just have that one contact, and then we'll take care of what their needs are and direct them to the right agency.
Would that other agency then contact you?
Well, maybe it depends. It depends whether we are the right agency for that. But they may not need housing. They may just need counseling. Maybe they need shelter. We're longer term, don't forget. We keep people for 1 year or 2 years, and if they're disabled, we can give them permanent housing.
But right away, I see the basic need I see is for a central assembly point.
Absolutely.
So they know where to go to be vectored out to the housing or Habitat for Humanity.
Absolutely. They don't have to know. You see, the challenge you have with homeless people is because they're no fixed abode, if you like. They're wandering around. They don't know where to go. When they contact us, we're the ones who have to do the centralization and then get back to them when we know where they should go.
Well, that makes sense. How many people do you believe that there are out there right now that we're not meeting their needs? It's a ballpark guess.
It's hard to take. Probably, I would think towards 3,000. We know there are 1,600 school children registered as homeless in our school system. So if you extrapolate
homeless school children?
Yes. So if you extrapolate that to families, then it takes you over 2,000, and then you've got all the single homeless. So probably around 3,000, I would think. Now we do every year nationally. We do what they call a point-in-time count, where we actually go out with volunteers and count everybody. But we never get much more than about 1,000.
Amazing, amazing. You know, I go over, if I cross O'Galley, go over the bridge, come up to the corner of the intersection of 1 and O'Galley, there's usually somebody there.
Right.
For lack of a better word, I'll say a panhandler or somebody looking for a handout. you don't know if there's somebody, if they are a person that has a real need, or if that's just their way of living.
Right.
I have a hard time because I feel guilty if I pass them by, and I get mad at myself if I contribute, and because I just don't know what the situation is. I don't want to give a $10 bill to a guy that's just going to go out and buy a bottle of cheap wine. How do people like the ones watching you and me sit here and talk, how those people on the other side of that tube, how do they know what to do? How can they help?
Right. They don't know. They cannot survey every panhandler or homeless person they talk to. They've just got to trust their heart. Do they want to help the situation? Maybe they can't judge. You either make a decision to donate or you don't.
But how could the 540,000 people in Brevard County, how could they do a better job of appreciating housing for homeless and do something about helping you as an agency administer to the people, to these families? How can that happen?
There's an easy question that they can start donating to our agency. You know, we have a website, www.housingforhomeless.org. They can donate on the website or on Facebook, and we can use that money wisely because we do background checks, we do income checks, we do all these checks on people. So the people that move into our properties are people who are ready and willing to turn their life around. So we're spending our money on the people. The donors don't have to make that decision when they give them a traffic light. When they give the money to us, we make the decisions for them and pick the right people.
You use it the right way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Folks, I want to make a point here. Before the start of the show, I asked Rob, I said, what is your budget, Rob? He said, $1.3 million. I said, what do you use that money for? That money, folks, is used to pay the agency people, the people that do the work, and also they take money out of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, to help modernize, rehab the houses that have been given by people, been given by the county, been given by other sources.
Right.
They give you the house in a rundown condition. They don't give you the money to
absolutely
rehab it.
No. We have become by far the biggest provider through acquiring over 70 properties. Now, people have been very generous in giving us the properties and even rehabbing them for us, the county, for instance. But nobody gives us any money for actually running them, maintaining them. In fact, we have a clause in our contracts. We're not allowed to sell these for 20 years, and we've got to maintain them for the next 20 years. We don't get the funds from that.
Have you ever thought about going to the builders and asking the builders for help?
We do that, and we get some very generous offers. We get donations from Home Depot regularly of building materials.
I know
Right.
Home Depot does.
Right.
How about the builders themselves? We have a large number of builders. Has anyone ever thought about getting the builders?
Funny you should ask that. We are planning that just this probably in the next 3 months.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll make you an open offer on this TV show. I'm the president of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. I'm sure our board would support helping you in some way. I'm not sure yet, but we can certainly do it by putting you on our television shows, getting you on a television network, getting you on our radio shows, getting you on our printed media, so that more people become aware. That's one of the biggest problems, Rob. That's why we started Helping Seniors, because we firmly believed that many people did not know about the many good organizations in Brevard County that can help people. Now, I'm not talking about the organizations that get $1 million and they spend $500,000 in staff and overhead. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that get $1 million, pay their staff a reasonable living wage, and use that money that they get to help take care of the personnel that they're supposed to be taking care of. And I know that's what Housing for Homeless does. I know a little bit more than I did when I first met you, because I talked to John Farrell, who is a very good friend of mine, and he's a director for
Daily Bread.
Daily Bread. There's just a lot we need to know about how to help people. And I think just by listening to what you've said so far, I'm starting to change some of my own mindset about what is being done and what's not being done for people of low income. I had another person on a recent TV show, and he said, essentially said, don't knock something until you try to see if it works or not. Housing for homeless is important. And I think it's important because I hate to give $1 to a charity that I don't know what they're going to use the money for. Right. We have so many charities calling us for our dollars, and most of that money on those callers lists is going to pay the people to conduct the telethon, not going to the people.
Absolutely. And I don't believe in parties that may create some income or running a 5K. We, in fact, this year, we're going to be instituting a program called Sponsor a Family. And what we're proposing there is, as I said to you, we need a certain amount of income to be able to just pay the expenses on the properties we have, because we don't get any outside funding for that. That costs us maybe $300-400 a month, say, to run a house. Our clients probably can only afford $200. So what we're going out to donors and saying, bridge the gap, pay us the difference, donate to us the difference between what the client can pay and what we need just to break even, not to make any money, but just to break even on the maintenance of our properties. Maybe do it for a year. Maybe it's $1,000 maybe. That means you're sponsoring that family. Thanks to you, that $1,000 is going to keep that family in that house. Our administration is only 5%, so it's not going to administration.
Yeah. I remember, you say your overhead is 5%?
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly reasonable. When I know some are operating at 45%.
Absolutely.
With my tax dollar.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I started helping seniors, because I want to see more people get a fair shake.
Right.
I'm enjoying the show. I really enjoy what you're telling me. Good. Because I'm learning the same as our viewers are learning. Right. Daily bread is, I've had so many mixed thoughts, and it goes, Rob, it goes back to the people standing on O'Galley, people going to Daily Bread. I guess what a lot of potential donors would like to know is what kind of effort do the nonprofits that we would give our money to, what kind of effort do they make towards stabilizing that family and getting that family in a position where they can take care of themselves? Because I sense that's a lot of what you get and what you're trying to help.
Absolutely. It isn't just a question of quantity, Joe, building more houses. It's also a question of quality. What is the quality of care that we provide for our clients while they're in our properties? And that depends, again, on money, how much money. And because we don't get funding for the houses we're in, we have to take the money that we do get from HUD and spread it over more houses, so we don't always have the number of case managers that we would like to provide the quality of care we would like. So we're constantly looking for more income that we can, put more into. It's quality rather than quantity.
When I went down to the Melbourne City Council and made my plea for assistance for helping seniors, you were there for housing for homeless. Right. I listened to you talk. It was my opinion that night that you could have said a heck of a lot more about what the need really is and what's not being done, now that I know more about what is not being done.
Right.
Does Melbourne, Palm Bay, the other local municipalities, do they support you?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yes. No complaints about the support that our cities give us.
I was going to say, because if they don't, then I would go down to the city council and say something. I'm serious.
No,
I really am.
They're very good people, and we have good relationships with all the cities, and we work very closely together.
It's interesting. Do you have to prove that these people that you help are low income? No,
because in most cases, as I said at the beginning, they are paying their own utilities. So they have a relationship with the city through the utilities department. But quite often, if the utilities department, if they're having a problem with their bills, the cities may contact us, and we may work with them to try and help whatever difficulties they're having.
Do you work with the churches, Habitat for Humanity?
Absolutely, yes. Habitat for Humanity would be a success for us if we could take one of our clients would. And I think one of our clients last year moved into a Habitat for Humanity house.
So you do work with Habitat for Humanity? Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And we work with many of the faith-based groups.
What do you think you could do more of, or do all of us could do a better job to publicize the needs of housing for homeless? How could we improve? And I don't know what we're not doing, because I'm just starting to look into it, but I'm going to look into it more, because we have an advocacy group. We started an advocacy group for seniors. I think you need to be a part of that advocacy group.
Absolutely.
I really do, because the only way that we're going to make a situation right in Brevard County, we advertise as being the 24th oldest county in the United States of America in terms of number of people over the age of 65. Could you offer me just a sort of a ballpark number on the number of people that you think housing for homeless assists that might be over 65?
Yeah, in fact, we have right now in our properties, we have around 40 seniors. Out of the 300 there, we have 40 of them are seniors.
40 seniors.
Yes, and you know the senior homeless population nationally is growing. Right now, it's around 50,000. They say by 2020 it'll be up a third. By 2050, you're going to have twice. You're going to have 100,000 homeless seniors in this country by 2050. So it's a growing, absolutely. And what's interesting is the average age of the homeless people is moving up. It's gone up by 15 years in the last 20 years.
What is the average age of all?
It used to be around 35. Now it's closer to 50.
Getting close to the AARP designation for senior citizen.
Absolutely.
Do you find, when you have these people come in, do you find people that are veterans that are homeless?
Oh, absolutely. We have altogether about 25% of our clients are veterans. And up in Titusville, we have a campus dedicated to veterans. We have what we call Victory Village. We have 10 properties there where disabled veterans can live there permanently, which they do.
Do all of those veterans get aid and attendance?
Absolutely, yes. Well, we work closely with the VA there, and the VA set up rules of support that we have to provide, so they get very good support.
But would it be a fair statement to say that by virtue of the fact that they sort of come under your surveillance, that it makes it easier for them to get the aid and attendance because the VA office knows that you're working with these people?
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of a hand-in-glove situation.
It's a partnership. What happens is the VA pay us so much per person per day. And in return for that, we give them services that the VA asks for.
The VA pays housing for homeless?
Yes. They pay us so much per person per day.
In addition, then they also would then get their aid and attendance.
Absolutely. And some of the counseling comes from the VA Medical Center, and we give them some of the counseling as well.
Actually, what you're doing is sort of harnessing assets to make them go further.
Absolutely. Very good program. We call it GPD, or Gross Per Diem program. Really works very well.
In Brevard County, Florida, what could organizations do better to help you serve more people, and along with that serving more people, to have a type of a funding program that will enable you to do a better job of upkeep on your facilities? I think
it really comes back again to money, Joe. You know, we need more donations, not just for properties. The VA and HUD now are looking future programs where they will ask us to cycle homeless people through the programs faster. That means that we'll be able to manage more people. But if you're moving people faster through your program, you need more care and attention. So we need funding to give better case management while they're going through this faster process. Where we care for people up to 2 years, we can see that down the road being 1 year or maybe even 6 months. That means we'll be able to handle a lot more people, but we're going to need to give them more care and attention, more intensive counseling.
I still keep going back and thinking about your statement saying that they pay for their own electrical. And sometimes I'm trying to make that bridge between understanding that on this air and understanding what it really costs a family to live on my other side. You got a big divide there
Absolutely.
to get across. Are there any kind of programs available for organizations like yours to draw from that maybe we just don't know about?
We're always looking for additional funding. You know, our HUD funding from HUD and VA, HUD funding has not increased for 4 or 5 years now.
But HUD funding would be the person to talk to try to increase that would be Congressman Posey.
Yes, but I think the decisions, most of them are made in Washington.
But he could.
Even Bill could shift that. Maybe he can help. Yeah.
Have you ever talked to him?
Yes, I talked to him a couple of years ago.
Well, I'm making it a point because of helping seniors to talk to the congressman because he's a very open congressman. He's very willing to listen to any good thought about helping somebody. And I just think I'll make sure that when our advocacy group is meeting, and I'll make sure Kay calls you because we want to get somebody from Housing for Homeless involved in this, because if we make a good presentation to the county commissioners, we can do something. We got about 10 seconds. What else would you say? Phone number?
Sorry, yes. Call me. Call us at any time, 321-639-0155. And please send money.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate having you on the show today. And thank you, viewer, for watching. I hope you've become a little better informed about the needs of the homeless and what we could do more of to help them in the county.